In Investigation 2.2, we have a different spin on area models. We have different events that might have many different choices, have different outcomes, and be not as equally likely. So we got to represent these in different ways. One way that we show these is through these different trail maps, and that's one way we kind of explore different possibilities and different methods for area models. So what happens here is I would ask you, from the start, what would be the probability that I end in cave B compared to cave A? Traditional answers would be cave B has a 1, 2, 3 out of 6 chance, because I have 1, 2, 3 pathways that get me there out of 6 total. And cave A also has a 3 out of 6 chance, because I have 1, 2, 3. Unfortunately, none of those are right, and we will show you exactly why those are incorrect. So let me just get rid of these lines that I just made, and we'll show you using area models your actual probabilities of just picking randomly your trails and getting into cave A or cave B. So I'm going to shrink this so we can have a little more space to write. First of all, I'm going to start with just a regular line, just like any other area model we've ever done. And now I have to look at where is my first decision when I'm going on these trails. So when I'm starting and I'm forced to come down this trail until I get to this fork right here, now I have to make a decision about which path to take. I can take the upper, the middle, or the lower. So if I have 3 different options, I split my line into 3 parts. Now I have 3 different sections that I split this number 1 line into, and now those can be reflected by our upper path, our middle path, and our lower path. So that was my first choice that I could make. Now where this gets interesting is that there are different choices within each of these paths, and so that needs to be reflected differently in this area model. So now we're looking at our first decision. So we're here, and now if I take this upper path, and I'm forced along here, and I need to make another decision on that upper path, I can choose to go to my higher path or to my lower. So in my upper path, and my upper path only, because that's the only one that has that exact decision, I'm going to take my upper path and split it in half. Just because at this point, when I'm taking this upper path, now when I'm already in there, so when I'm already in this upper pathway, I now have another decision to make that has 1 option and 2 options. And so now I've reflected that upper path as having 1 option and 2 options. I'm going to throw in some labels right away so I'm not getting confused. If I take this upper path and then take the upper path on top of it, I'm going to end up in cave B. If I take that lower path, this one right here, I'm going to end up in cave A. And so now I'm good with my upper path. Those are the only possibilities that if I choose this upper path, that's the only things I can end up in. Cave A for the upper, cave B for the lower. I'm sorry, other way around. Cave B for the upper, cave A for the lower. Now I can go back to that middle path. Start following it. Okay, if I opt to go this middle path, I don't have to make any more choices. If I take this middle path, I'm forced to go to cave A. So I don't have to split that one up at all, because now I'm forced to go to cave A. Then let's look lastly at this lower path. If I choose to go down this way, now I'm in this lower path area, in my area model. If I go in this lower pathway, I come to this decision, and now I have 1 option, 2 options, 3 options. So I need to split that lower path up into 3 equal parts. Option number 1, option number 2, option number 3. Option number 1 would take me to cave A. Option number 2 would take me to cave B. Option number 3 would take me to cave B as well. So now I have them labeled. Now the probability, I would say, what's the probability of getting to A, and what's the probability of getting to B? Well, if you look at this, we would say, okay, well, there's 3 that get me to A out of 6 total. There is 1, 2, 3 out of 6 total blocks get me there. So it should be 3, 6. Absolutely not. Reason being is that these are not equal parts, because we can see that this A block is much bigger than this A block, much bigger than this even A block over here. So when we have equal parts, now we can make some assessments about probability. So the way we do that is now we have to split these boxes into equal parts. So one quick way that I know is going to be effective is if I can take these lines down here and I can raise them straight up. So now what I've essentially done is I've split my upper path, my middle path, and my lower path into those 3 parts. But now we're seeing something a little bit different. We're seeing this upper path has this line that we need to deal with. So I still don't have equal parts. So I'm going to bring that line straight down. And now if we look at it, I still don't have equal parts because now I have this block is still much bigger than this one, and this one is still much smaller than this one, so I still need to make equal parts. If we look at this middle column here, middle column is split into half. So originally, we'd split it into thirds, 1, 2, and so we had 3 sections, 1 section, 2 sections, 3 sections. So now this middle third is split in half. So now I'm going to split the other thirds in half, and in half. Now I have equal parts. And so now I'm going to kind of shade some different things in. I'm going to shade in the blocks that represent cave B. So now if I'm looking at this one, this is cave B, this one stands for cave B, and then this stands for cave B. When I'm looking at how many blocks I just filled in, I filled in 1 block, 2 blocks, 3 blocks, 4, 5, 6, 7 blocks. So I know to start my probability for cave B, I have 7 chances to get there. Now I need to figure out how many total blocks I have or how many total opportunities. And so now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I have 3 rows, each including 6. So that tells me I have 18 total options, total outcomes. And now if I'm looking and I want to count my A's, let's get a different color. Let's look at it a little bit yellow. If I'm looking at my A's, now I have 3 things that get me to A, 6 options that get me to A, and 2 more. So now I have 3 plus 6 is 9, and then plus 2 more is 11. So now I have 11 chances to get to A, again out of 18 total. And so these are a couple different ways that we're looking at separating area models. A little bit confusing. We'll definitely keep practicing though.